And it's why I don't even take the AP poll serious, and I don't want to scream and get worked up, but this is ridiculous. I just feel like some of these guys that come up with these rankings and are allowed to do these rankings, they don't even know what they're talking about. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you had a great weekend. Hope all of you having a great start to your Monday. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And man, oh man, well, I don't even gotta say, you know what we're about to get into. The new AP poll, the new rankings have been released. I haven't seen them. I always save my live reaction for you guys. We're going to take a look at those. And also, I'm going to give you my new and improved top 12. And you might want to see where I got Little Bro State at, because it might just shock you. We're going to see some movement there with Oregon and Little Bro State. And what about Alabama and Tennessee? I'm curious to see where they're going to fall, because, come on now. Well, maybe Alabama doesn't fall, but Tennessee most certainly will fall in these rankings. I guarantee it. Miami didn't play. Ole Miss lost, so I assume LSU is going to be in the top 10. I also expect Clemson to jump back in the top 10. Let's just get straight into it. You know, I like to start things out at the bottom. And what about this? Navy and Army cracking the top. Hold on. That is what I like to see. That is America right there. Navy and Army in the top 25. Has that ever happened before? I don't think so. Congratulations to them. And I'm also looking at this. So Vanderbilt, I know we don't have a top 30 rankings, but Vanderbilt currently is ranked 26th in the nation. Keep your eyes on Vandy. I mean, this is a legit now top 26 team. Nebraska's right behind them, and here's something interesting to think about. If Vandy wins next week or this upcoming week and somebody in front of them loses, like Michigan, Navy, Army, whoever, they lose, Vanderbilt goes up, and they play Texas, that's going to be a top 25 matchup. Crazy to say the least, but, you know, I normally don't have too much to say about 25 through 21, or really 25 through 10 or 12. Let's get into 20 through 15. Okay, Ole Miss, dang. They dropped that far? Yeah, I don't agree with that. I personally have Ole Miss way higher than that. I mean, they really should have won the game. They gave it away, and I know it's why we play the games, but dropping them behind Indiana and Kansas State, what are we doing? Do not agree with that, but they did lose the game, so I can understand it. 15 through 11, we got Boise. They just climbing up the rankings at 15. A&M, 14. They are silently undefeated in the SEC. BYU, very solid team. You know, I think I got to start respecting BYU a little bit more. And I actually had some, who was it? I can't remember who it was, but one of you commented on the recent recap that, yo, Matt, you need to talk about the Big 12 more in the ACC. And you're right, I do. I know those conferences aren't as good as the SEC and Big 10, but it's time I start giving them a little bit more recognition. At 12, we got, I don't even want to say their name. At 11, we got the Tennessee Volunteers. Wow, they dropped, what is that, 3 or 4 spot? No, I say right here, 3. No Clemson, so that means they're in the top 10. And I don't think anyone's going to argue with Tennessee falling that low, because they look awful on offense. It's not even like, oh, they look slightly below average. No, they look awful. You can't score in back-to-back first halves against Arkansas and the Arkansas one's kind of understandable. Not really, but a little bit. You know what I mean? There's an argument there. But Florida? Their defense sucks. Good gosh almighty. Tennessee has some mega problems on offense. Their defense is great, but offense, not so much. I don't mind Tennessee dropping at 11. Let's get into the top 10. At number 10, there they are. We got the Davos Sweeneys, the Clemson Tigers. I've been telling y'all the past couple weeks, keep your eyes on this team. They're slowly but surely taking care of business. I'm higher on Clemson than most people, and I'm telling you right now, I'm going to continue to say it. Do not sleep on them. I know Georgia beat them by 30, but that game wasn't as bad as it seemed, and they control their destiny, whether you like it or not. I really don't know much about this team, just being 100% transparent with all of you. We got Iowa State. Well, I say I don't know a lot about them. I do. They just haven't played anybody. I don't understand how they're in the top 10. What are we basing that off of? The first 3 games of the season, they played North Dakota State. They beat Iowa by 1. Arkansas State. Who did they play the 4th game? Houston. Houston sucks. Baylor's not that good. And West Virginia. That's good enough to be put in the top 10. Not to me. For example, I value Ole Miss having 2 quality losses against legit opponents more than Iowa State being undefeated against bombs. That's just me. As to how anyone actually believes Iowa State's better than Clemson and Ole Miss, you don't know what you're talking about. I ain't going to argue that Tennessee's better than Iowa State, but Clemson and Ole Miss, and even Texas A&M and BYU, I mean, come on, man, what are we doing? That is ludicrous to me, but it's one of those things. They just win, so the AP voters feel like, oh, yeah, well, they're undefeated in a Power 4 conference, so I guess we got to keep moving them up the rankings. It is what it is. At number 8, jumping up 5 spot, we got the LSU Tigers. Man, oh, man, you want to talk about an extremely fortunate and lucky team? Let's just call it what it is. That's LSU. They should be 3-3 right now. The refs bailed them out against South Kakalaki, and then Ole Miss quite literally gave them the ball game. But like they say, rather be lucky than good, and that's where LSU is. And it doesn't matter how you get to 5-1, you're 5-1. They control their destiny. I had LSU at number 7. Alabama doesn't move. I didn't think they would move. I didn't think the AP voters would drop them. Yeah, it's Bama. Not going to say too much about this. Bama doesn't look very good. Although South Carolina, I think they're a solid team. They're nothing special. And the way Alabama played against them, it was embarrassing yet again for the second straight week. The last 10 quarters for Bama have been so pitiful to watch. They are playing some bad football, but you can look at it from this standpoint. They're not hitting on all cylinders or clicking on all cylinders, and they're still finding a way to win games. But good gosh almighty, Alabama tried to give the game away, but South Carolina just wouldn't take it. At number 6, I didn't even play. Not going to talk about this. Miami. Let's get to the top 5 here. Okay, Georgia, they stay the same. Oh, here we go. Little Bro State. They dropped 2 spots ahead of Georgia. It's not even really close, as you can see. Ohio State has 1,357 points. Georgia has exactly 1,300. At number 3, above Little Bro State, we got Penn State. I disagree with that. At number 2, we got the Duckies. And at number 1, we got big and bad Texas. Don't agree with Iowa State, and I don't agree with Penn State. Outside of this, yeah, I can get down with these rankings. They're okay. They're not too shabby. I do respect Penn State's win over USC. I was really impressed with how they played, and I know Drew Aller had 3 interceptions, but I like how they were slinging the ball a little bit more than normal. But I don't understand why people think Penn State is better than Ohio State. What told you in this most recent weekend Penn State is better than Ohio State? Nothing. And it's why I don't even take the AP poll serious, and I don't want to scream and get worked up, but this is ridiculous. I just feel like some of these guys that come up with these rankings and are allowed to do these rankings, they don't even know what they're talking about. If that pass interference call on Jeremiah Smith wasn't called and Ohio State kicks what would have been like a 35-yard field goal and makes it, they would have had Ohio State probably at number 1. I mean, Ohio State was quite literally one play away from winning that game, and the voters wouldn't have had Penn State ranked over them. I think it's kind of laughable, but we'll get into my rankings and we'll talk on a little bit more. If you do want to see my rankings early, I do post these late Saturday night on Twitter, so yeah, feel free to follow the Twitter. These are my top 12 teams. At number 12, I got Tennessee. I dropped them pretty far. I love their defense, but their offense is currently one of the worst in the SEC, and Nico Iamaleava is one of the worst quarterbacks in the SEC. I think in the future he's going to be great, but right now he's booty cheeks. At number 11, I got Ole Miss. It goes back to this argument, the same thing with Ohio State. Ole Miss played a top 10 team, played them close, should have won the game, and you're going to drop them where they have them, like 18 and 19? Doesn't make any sense to me. It's a competitive game. Although Ole Miss has been disappointing this year, they're better than a lot of these other teams in the country. At number 10, I got Texas A&M. They're undefeated in the SEC, been playing really great football. At number 9, I just realized this is 4 straight SEC teams. I got LSU. Goes without being said, they're 5-1. Good wins, kind of lucky, but hey, they're there. Nobody's going to complain about that. At number 8, and I told you I was higher on this team than most, I got Clemson. Cade Klubnik is quietly having a Heisman season. He's playing great. He's putting up unreal numbers. It's just, unfortunately for him and Clemson, everybody wrote him off after the Georgia game. And rightfully so, because the big-time games, that's what matters. And if you want to win the Heisman Trophy, you got to perform against top 5 teams in the nation. And Klubnik and Clemson didn't do that. But this is no longer a 14 playoff. It's a 12-team playoff, and Clemson, they're right there in the mix. So they look good. At number 7, I got Alabama. I did drop them, as you can see with the red arrow. Last week, I had them at 5. Alabama looks not very good. And I would actually like to drop them farther, but when you look at some of the other teams, it's like, well, the other teams really ain't too much better. Offense did struggle, so it was nice to see the defense step up. There's just a lot of things they got to work on, and hopefully they fix it. At number 6, I did move them up in my rankings. I got Penn State. Like I said, very impressive win over USC. They go up in my rankings. At number 5, they go up due to Alabama going down. I got Miami. At number 4, I dropped them because Georgia's got some serious problems, and this is a different video for a different day. They gave up a 31 burger to the worst team in the SEC. We like to clown on Vanderbilt, but Vanderbilt is right now an average team in the SEC. They're like 7 or 8. Mississippi State is by far the worst team in the conference. Mississippi State lost by 30 to Toledo, and they gave Georgia a competitive ball game. In Georgia's home stadium, it was 41-31. That was a game. Carson Beck, he looks just not very good. He can't take care of the ball. Georgia's still good, but they're not great like I thought they were heading into the season, and that shocks me. And arguably the most shocking part about Georgia is the defense. They're not great anymore. They're just good. As disappointed as I am in Alabama to start the season, I'm just as disappointed in Georgia. At number 3, they go down my rankings only one spot. I got the little bro, Ohio State. I only dropped in one spot ahead of them. I felt like it was only right. I got Oregon. Oregon won the game. They executed a little bit better at the end. So, yeah, they deserve to be ranked ahead of them. And number one, they do not move for me. Shockingly, the only team to not move in my rankings, I got Texas. Let me give you my thought process on Oregon and Texas. I considered putting Oregon at the number one spot. I'm not saying it was close, but I did consider it. And what it came down to for me is that Texas defense, they are ferocious. And I know Quinn Ewers struggled a little bit, but he ain't played in a month. He'll pick it up, and that offense will get back to clicking. I think Texas, top to bottom, is the overall best team in the nation, and that's why I still got them at number one. It's not a slide on Oregon. Oregon's looking pretty good, but Texas are looking a little bit better. Not hating, but as of all, why are we so low? We simply played a good defensive football game yesterday. Are you joking? Are you being sarcastic? Have you seen this Tennessee team play the past couple of weeks? Go rewatch those games. That's why you're so low. Many more comments I could read and many more things I could say, but we got a lot of videos to make today, so be on the lookout for that. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But Roman.